Hi, Brooke Starks here, coming to you from Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, home of the University of Illinois, Go Illini, and the infamous South Farms, where the university conducts its livestock research and nobody ever wants to live downwind. I have an estate planning practice here in Champaign-Urbana, and for the past couple of decades, we've really focused a lot of our energy and expertise on small businesses and agricultural clients. So that client base makes up about 80% of what we do at Legacy Legal. And most of those conversations are focusing on wealth transfer, family business succession from one generation to the other, preservation of assets, saving of taxes, and managing the on-farm, off-farm heir dynamic. In recent years, as my kids got older, I was able to get out and travel more and have had opportunities to start speaking increasingly to large groups throughout the Midwest about some of these issues. It is absolutely a passion project for me to get people unstuck and to overcome the detriment that I think that a lot of lawyers have done to making the law unapproachable for normal people. At Legacy, our tagline is explain, equip, empower. And that's because I just stand on the foundational piece that it is my job to teach first and make this information approachable for people before they need to make any large decisions about it. And it's really a place where I think people get stuck. They really have trouble understanding some of these legal concepts. And frankly, there are a lot of lawyers out there that don't do anything to help that. They actually kind of only make matters worse. They talk in legal speak. They use technical terminology, big words that normal people with great intelligence actually can't understand. Sometimes I say we're like doctors with bad bedside manner when we do that to our clients, and it further alienates people in that process. And so it is my, my passion project. It's the thing that fires me up to get out there and help people get over that hump. And we do that by breaking these things down into small pieces that can actually be understood and putting it forward in real people terminology so that they can make these decisions. We have a saying in estate world, how do you eat an elephant? Usually we're using it on the side of estates called estate administration, which is the post-death side, where we're trying to help a family figure out all the things that need to be done to wrap up the estate affairs of a loved one. It looks overwhelming from the outside. So how do we eat an elephant? Same way we eat anything else, one bite at a time. But we have to give people the bites. And a lot of my clients or prospective clients and audience members get stuck when they look at estate planning and family business planning on the whole. When they say, well, we don't know what to do about the off-farm heir and the on-farm heir. How do we make it fair and equal? What do we do to save taxes? How do we start transitioning power and decision making from one generation to the next generation? How do we overcome these generational differences that we have about how we think that the farm should run and what's the best way to do business? And technology is changing everything and we just don't know what to do. And it is overwhelming. There's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. And so putting that forward in a way that's understandable and breaking it down into pieces and giving folks analogies that help them turn those light bulbs on is what I'm out there trying to get across to audiences all across the United States. Because frankly, any of us who work in ag, we want the farm to be there in future generations. We're just as interested in that for our job security as we are in helping our clients keep their farms in the families. And that only happens if we set them up for success. But they are oftentimes overwhelmed. A lot of them will go to seminar after seminar after seminar. They will talk to more than one lawyer, accountant, insurance person, and they get conflicting messages or they can't make it all make sense. And I was driving along the other day thinking about this, and I was thinking about legacy and had my grandfather on my mind. I had taken a trip down to the campground that we used to always go to when I was a little kid. My grandfather passed away when I was in junior high school, so it's been a long time that I've been without him. But there are many memories that he taught me that are lasting. And one of those memories was to go fishing. So I am one of three daughters born to an avid outdoorsman. So you can think that it's either to my benefit or to my detriment, depending on your persuasion. But that means that my sisters and I got towed along for all of the outdoor things: hunting, fishing, blackberry picking, mushroom hunting, you name it. If it happened outdoors, we were probably there for it. But one of my favorite memories was on weeknights in the summertime when the days got long. My dad would get home from work, we'd eat a quick supper, and then he would take me out to meet my grandpa at this little lake outside of town, and we'd go fishing just in this aluminum John boat, nothing special, and they particularly like to fish for bass. So when I got a little bit older, they were teaching me how to fish with a bait caster with an open face reel. And if you've ever had this experience, actually, if you've ever had the experience of taking kids fishing at all, you know that not much fishing actually happens. But with this open face reel, this bait caster, it was even more the case because there's a technique involved to stopping the line. And if you don't do that, it can get all tangled up very easily. But beyond that, you're controlling how far out the line gets cast. And I was notorious. I'm pausing because I'm thinking I'm still kind of notorious for getting that line caught in everything except just squarely in the water where it was supposed to be. So I'd get it hooked on a stump, I'd get it in a brush pile. And of course, the bass like the brush piles and the stumps, and they like to lay up close to the shore where there's coverage. And I would frequently, trying to get it very close to the shore, overthrow and cast my line and get it stuck right up in the trees that'd be overhanging the bank. And my grandfather was a patient man, but he was known to say a swear word every once in a blue moon. And after doing that a number of times in the same fishing trip, he finally would say, God, Brooke, we're not fishing for hootie owls, we're fishing for fish. And then he'd pull the line over to the side, right? Pull the boat over with the line and get to where he could snip it out because that lure cost probably $4 then. And he wasn't going to waste $4 with my lure hanging in the tree. Thinking about my grandpa and those experiences, which do make me smile, made me think about our clients and audiences, our customers. And so many of them are trying really hard to catch fish, and they're fishing for hootie owls. They've been to this seminar, they've talked to that person, they got this piece of advice, they're reading on the internet, and they're throwing their line everywhere except where it actually needs to be. And if we can get them throwing their line where it actually needs to be and understanding how that works and how to get their line there, then we're actually serving them. We're helping them catch fish instead of fishing for owls. And that's what I'm trying to do when we're out talking with audiences. I'm trying to turn the light bulb on and connect the dots so that they go, oh, all right, so if I want to go there, here's what I need to do to make my bait land in that spot. Not to take an analogy too far. Here's the next step to that process. Instead, they're out there all over the place. And when they do that and they don't catch a fish, they get frustrated and they stop and they stall out. And they don't know what they're supposed to be doing to do it differently. So they either just keep going bonkers out there doing random things that don't actually net them any fish at the end of the day, or they just stop. And so what we're doing is taking audiences on a walk from point A to point B, whatever the subject matter is. Understanding the generational differences on your farm, figuring out how women work in this agricultural production, building a legacy for estate planning over a period of generations, starting at the transition for succession planning from one generation to another. What are the steps so that they land where they're supposed to? And that's what we're out there doing. Most frequent compliment that I receive is, I never understood it until you explained it that way. And that is what keeps me going, fills my bucket, and gets me just passionate about continuing to get people to move off of center. So if there's something about that that sounds like it could be helpful to your audience or who you have in mind, I'd love to have a conversation. These things can be customized to and tweaked to what it is you're looking for. And I'd just be happy to teach and help people find a way to approach this stuff one bite at a time. Look forward to the opportunity. Thanks.